By late 1944, despite the crippling shortages of strategic metals and the lingering confusion caused by conflicting military directives, a handful of operational Me-262s were finally organized into the world's first specialized jet squadron, designated Kommando Nowotny. Under the command of the legendary Austrian ace Walter Nowotny, a highly decorated veteran with over 200 aerial victories, this experimental unit was tasked with a monumental objective: to develop the actual combat tactics and operational doctrine for a weapon system that was completely unprecedented in the history of human warfare. Stationed at the airfields of Akmar and Hessepi, these pioneers found themselves in a terrifying crucible, discovering that the immense speed of the jet, which was its greatest asset in high-altitude combat, became a profound, deadly vulnerability during the critical phases of takeoff and landing. When the Me-262 was descending toward a runway, its engines had to be throttled back to a lower setting, rendering the aircraft remarkably sluggish and completely unable to accelerate quickly if an emergency arose. The heavy, unarmored jet became a slow, predictable target, a weakness that Allied intelligence quickly identified and exploited with ruthless efficiency. Squadrons of American P-51 Mustangs and British Hawker Tempests began patrolling the airspace directly above the jet bases, waiting like vultures in the clouds for the distinctive twin-engine shapes to slow down for their landing approach. This predatory tactic, which the Germans bitterly referred to as rat-catching, turned the airfields into absolute meat grinders, where some of the Reich's most technologically advanced aircraft were routinely blown to pieces before their wheels could even touch the grass.
The tragic climax of this experimental phase occurred on November 8, 1944, during a massive Allied bomber raid that filled the sky with hundreds of roaring engines and dense networks of anti-aircraft fire. Nowotny took off into the swirling chaos, determined to prove the combat worth of his squadron despite suffering from a severe engine malfunction right from the start. Over the radio, his ground crew could hear his frantic, static choke transmissions as he engaged enemy bombers, claiming several victories before reporting a sudden, catastrophic flameout in one of his volatile Jumo 004 engines. As he tried to guide his crippled, asymmetric jet back through the low clouds toward Akmar, a swarm of American fighters dived onto his tail, riddling the vulnerable, slowing Stormbird with heavy machine gun fire. The aircraft pitched forward and slammed into the ground at terrifying speed, exploding in a massive fireball that killed Nowotny instantly and forced the Luftwaffe High Command to temporarily disband the unit, a sobering reminder that their technological marvel was still profoundly fragile, bound by the unforgiving laws of physics and the relentless tactics of an overwhelming enemy.